Hi everyone, welcome back to the Web3 channel. My name is Zach. In this video, we're going to be looking at some new information regarding, of course, US regulation on crypto we've been speaking about on this channel because it is relevant to Web3 being NFT, crypto and metaverse news. That being said, let's have a look at what's happening here. US congressman wants to scrub a bill provision that crypto advocates say is a potential disaster. We have already spoken about this on this channel very recently in the past few days. Representative Ted Budd stated that the provision would let the Treasury unilaterally prohibit certain financial transactions without public input. North Carolina Representative Ted Budd submitted an amendment to the Omnibus America Competes Act of 2022 specifically targeting the provision that would allow the Treasury Department to impose special measures, including surveillance and outright prohibitions against transmittal of funds. As Cointelegraph reported, executives of crypto advocacy group Coin Center had earlier turned the spotlight on the provision introduced by Connecticut Representative Jim Himes that would scrap the existing checks, such as the requirement of public consultation and time limits on special measure orders, constraining the Treasury's power to unilaterally prohibit financial transactions. If passed in its current form, the provision would deal a major blow not only to the cryptocurrency industry, but to privacy and due process generally, as Coin Center's executive director Jerry Brito stated. We have already made a video, like I said, about this about a day or two ago. That being said, now recently, Republican Congressman Ted Budd echoed his argument in a statement that read, "The Treasury Department should not have unilateral authority to make sweeping economic decisions without providing full due process of rulemaking. This draconian provision would not help America compete with China. It would employ China's heavy-handed playbook to snuff out financial innovation in our own country." In a tweet that followed, Budd called the provision in question a massive mistake. Let's have a look at what exactly was tweeted out. By word, a new provision in the Competes Act would allow the Treasury Department to unilaterally prohibit certain financial transactions without public input. I submitted an amendment to fix this massive mistake. The Treasury Department should not have unilateral authority to make sweeping economic decisions without the full due process of rulemaking and everything else that we have already spoken about. In a tweet that followed, tucking new rules that could adversely affect the crypto industry into huge must-pass pieces of legislation is a practice that first came into the spotlight last year with the appending without public discussion of a highly contentious definition of a digital asset broker to the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act later signed into law. The primary focus of the 2,912-page America Competes Act of 2022 is on remedying supply chain issues to keep the manufacturing and technology sectors of the US internationally competitive. However, the sprawling bill also includes a host of seemingly unrelated measures and spending authorizations, including a ban on shark fin sales, steps against harassment in science, and new liabilities for online marketplaces. Let's have a quick look, real quick though, at what's happening here regarding 6 senators urging the Treasury Secretary to clarify the definition of brokers in infrastructure law before this year, which of course, according to the US lawmakers, the infrastructure law contains an overly broad interpretation of what a broker is and places that the reporting burden on individuals who may not have the necessary information to comply. A bipartisan group of US senators have called on Janet Yellen to clarify the language in the infrastructure bill signed into law by President Joe Biden around the tax reporting requirement on crypto. In the letter, Senators Rob Portman, Mike Crapo, Pat Toomey, Mark Warner, Kristen Sinema, and Cynthia Lummis urged Yellen to provide information or informal guidance on the definition of broker in the recently passed infrastructure law HR 3684. Under the current wording, people in the crypto space, including miners, software developers, transaction validators, and node operators, are required to report most digital asset transactions worth more than $10,000 to the IRS. However, according to the US lawmakers, the law contains an overly broad interpretation of what a broker actually is and places an undue burden on certain individuals who may not even have the necessary information on transactions to comply. The six said Yellen is empowered to use the Administrative Procedure Act legislation, which determines how federal agencies may develop and issue regulations. In this case, they urged her to provide a set of rules to clarify the definition of a broker in an expeditious manner or no later than the end of the year. We ask that you carefully consider the characteristics of the technologies that drive the space, which may include differences in the consensus mechanisms of various distributed ledgers and second-layer protocols. Digital assets could be impactful for technological developments in certain sectors, and clear guidelines on tax reporting requirements will be important to those in this ecosystem. The letter is the latest effort by US lawmakers to attempt to modify the tax reporting provision in the infrastructure legislation. Toomey, Loomis, Sinema, Portman, Warner, and others backed a bipartisan agreement on an amendment to do just that when the bill was moving through the Senate in August, but the proposal was derailed by Alabama Senator Richard Selby seeking to add his own amendment to the bill. Senators Ron Wyden and Loomis also attempted to pass legislation that would have changed tax reporting requirements to not apply to individuals developing blockchain technology and wallets on the same day the bill became law. Now that this bill has become law, Congress has a responsibility to ensure that it is implemented effectively and in accordance with congressional intent. And of course, they added they were prepared to offer legislation to clarify the definition of a broker. Of course, this news was broken literally last year, December 16 of 2021. So pretty much about a month and a week ago. With that being said, what are your thoughts on everything happening here? As per usual, nothing really in this video could ever be considered it, but either way, in the Web3 channel, nothing to be considered financial advice. Do your own research, but have a great day everyone, and I'll see you in the next Web3 video.